Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Thriving Talk. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope 2023 has gotten off to a great start for everyone. I hope everyone has enjoyed the holidays. If you had the chance of traveling, I hope that was fun too. We had the chance of going to Chicago, which was fun. So, yep. This is another Dadson edition in which me, Tim, gets a chance to ask my dad, Tinku Thompson, questions. Hello, Dad.
I'm doing good. I think I also want to wish all our listeners a happy and blessed New Year, this year 2023.
Yep. A reminder to all our listeners, Thriving Talk is available on major platforms like iTunes, Google Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, and more. As we have started a new year, let us focus on a topic that has many different aspects, and I feel like we've covered, if not a couple of the aspects of this topic. So we're going to talk about staying productive. So do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree that, as I was looking through the some of our old or the previous episodes, like I think purpose of life management, good habits, time management, technology addictions, maybe on laziness. I think we might have covered some aspects of this topic in different episodes, but I think today we are going to talk about something different, or maybe we'll be very sharp and focused to talk about how to stay productive. Yeah.
Yep. So we all know our time is limited. We have only 24 hours in a day, and we're all busy. We have so many things to do. So my question is, how can we stay productive?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually, because I want to actually start with a quote by Amy Carmichael. She says, "We will have eternity to celebrate the victories, but only a few hours before sunset to win them." Did you get it? We will have an eternity to celebrate the victories, but only a few hours before the sunset to win them.
Would you explain that?
Basically, what it means is eternity, where we all will spend, it's going forever.
Yeah.
And we only have little time while we are in this world.
Oh, good.
And if we use this little time in the right way, we will be able to celebrate that victory for a long time. But if we don't do anything, we miss our opportunities here, then we will have an eternity to regret, right? Yep. The other one I want to say is from Scott. This person says, "For what it's worth, it's never too late, or in my case, too early to do whoever you want to be. I hope you live a life you're proud of. If you find that you're not, I hope you have the strength to start all over again." So we have one life. Okay, so your question was more around this question about we only have 24 hours. That's right, and we only have 24 hours, 7 days a week, probably 52 weeks a year, 365 days. And then we don't know how many years we get to live in this world. But our days are limited, that's for sure. So, let me come straight to the point. How to stay productive? Let me ask you a question. When would you say that your day was productive? Tell me from your own experience. Let me try to see.
When can you
say that, today was a productive day? At the end of the day, let's say you say, today was a productive day.
Okay.
When will you say that?
If I've done everything I've planned to do, like if I read everything, like the Bible, everything I want to read after.
So a couple of things. Plan, do. Yeah. Right? So I am not responding this. This is coming straight from you, and I put you on the spot. So, plan and do. So the thing is, if we fail to plan, we are actually planning to fail. Somebody said like that.
Oh yeah, that
if
makes
we
sense.
fail to plan, we are
planning to fail.
See, for the Thriving Talks, we have a plan, we have a schedule, we have everything, right? So that's why we are recording it today. That's why we are here. Otherwise, if we didn't have a plan, we won't be here. Probably you would be doing something on computer, I would be doing something, maybe reading something, right? So planning is very important, and how I look at it is, we need to have a goal for the year. We can have
Okay.
long-term goals, we can have short-term goals, but at least for an year, what am I going to achieve? Like that's this year starts. What are the three things, two things, five things,
So like the main big thing.
big things? What am I going to do? Right? That's one thing. Then you can also have weekly goals. So let's say, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say we say that this year we are going to record 52 episodes of Thriving Talk. Right? We are not going to do that in one day.
Yeah.
Right? It's not possible at all. Leave alone one day, 1 week, it's not possible. So what we need is, we need to have a plan where week after week we come together and we record the episodes based on the need. So we need a plan. And then if we do that diligently, like, the day we fixed, okay, this is the day we will record, this is the day we will publish everything. What will happen is, 6 months later, we would have done 26
Yeah.
episodes, like half. And very likely that we will be reaching our goal.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a plan, we say, okay, whenever we get time, we will record. Then by the end of the year, I can guarantee you that we will not be doing anything, or maybe 1 or 2 episodes. Right? So that's why it's very important. So I would say that we should have a weekly plan where we have a very clear idea about things which is apart. Like you go to school, I work, but those places, I think our schedule is more fixed. But even there, and even the other things we want to do, we need to make sure, okay, Monday is for what? Tuesday is for what? Wednesday is for this, right? All those days. So we should have a goal for the week, and then we should have a goal for the day too. So what I do, I have told, I think, in the previous episodes too, basically, I divide daily tasks into 3 categories. What are those must daily things very consistently I need to do? And then what are those things which I need to be focused today? And what are some of the other tasks, right? So that needs to happen. And I always say, right, I may write like 5, 10 things which are in the others category. And I may not get into complete all those stuff, but even if I do 5, I have achieved better than, not doing anything.
Yeah.
So I think you should have a plan. You should have a goal in front of you. A good example is, let's say you want to do some certification, you want to do some study something, you want to study on a particular topic. What you need to do is, you need to make a plan about how are you going to really tackle that. So another thing I want to just mention is that we need to start our day with success in mind. And for that, first thing we need to do is, we need to overcome this issue of procrastination on the bed. So let's say we plan that, I don't know, based on your own rhythms of life, you can tweak it. But to me, what works best is if I am able to get up early, very early in the morning. What that gives me is, it gives me time for my devotion, my personal time, then also time for me to write and work on things before the other things of the day, the demands come along, right? So there are so many things to be done. So it is very important that if we can find what is the time, and for some people it may be evening. I'm not trying to say everybody has to do it in the morning, but at least for me, I find it very good. And also it gives you a lot of, joy, confidence as you approach the day that, okay, I have not done this, I have not done that, but you feel like, okay, it's 8 in the morning and I've already done a lot of things. Yeah. So I would start by saying that you need to have a plan, probably at least, okay, what are those big things you're going to do in a year? And plan for the week, say, okay, this is the week, this looks like this, I don't have anything much going on this week, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just relax, but focus on doing things which will help me to meet my goal. And then, of course, start every day morning. And, we make sure that you are at least spending little time for those goals. So, for example, if you plan to read 6 books this year, again, I know that that's too small for you. I'm not talking about the books you read, but if some people read the books. So even if you are not able to read 2 hours every single day, it's better to read like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It's better than just not reading at all to achieve your goal. So those things can help you to stay productive.
So we all know what's multitasking, which is doing many things at one time. So what do you think about that? Because I feel like it could help.
Oh, no. I also used to think that multitasking would help. I used to do that. Not do that. I used to try to do that a lot. But I have found with my own testing and, when I say I've proven that it doesn't work. And we are not created to be multitasking people in the sense like, when I say multitasking, it doesn't mean that you're listening to a music and you're doing something. No, that's not. But focus. Your focus can only be in one place. Actually, earlier today I was listening to something, a talk, and then I was also trying to read, and I failed miserably because I found that when I was focusing on listening, I was reading, but I was not picking up anything I was reading. And then all of a sudden I started focusing on reading.
I think
then I missed out what I was listening, whatever was going on. So, and there are so many examples where I can say that it's not going to work.
One thing that I feel about that, because reading and reading and like hearing about like talks, and it's very similar. So I feel like it would be real hard to do that together.
Yeah. And then even other things. So what I would rather say is we should focus on certain aspects. We should block time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. At that time, keep your phone away, everything away, and just focus on that. That way you will have done a lot of things. It's not like, try to do 5 things at the same time. I would even encourage that don't even keep tabs open on your computer with a lot of different things going, because that will always give you a temptation to go back and forth.
Distraction.
So I'm of the view now that you should have a computer open. If you're doing something on the computer, open with just one window what you need, unless you need another window to access to help with what you're doing. But keep it simple. If you're typing, writing, just have wherever you type your notepad or whatever, you use Word, or just have that open. That way you're not distracted. Make sure your emails and everything is away. And that's the way. So I don't agree with multitasking. When I say I don't agree, what I mean to say is I don't think that's going to make you more productive. It's going to, basically make you less productive.
So what are your thoughts about delegating?
Oh, that's right, actually. Yeah, you should delegate, but that's a difficult thing to do. Because delegation means you have to trust others.
Yeah.
I was recently listening to something where, sometimes as the volume grows, number of people grows, if it is a church, or you can't do anything other than delegating, because you can't be doing everything, right? Yeah. Like I delegated a lot of things to you last year. I think that worked. But just think of if I would not have taught you, delegated all this stuff, and I would have been doing everything on my own. Just imagine how much we could have done. We would not have been able to do much, right?
Yeah.
So we have to do. But the challenge with delegation is sometimes you have to train the other person, and don't expect things to work the way you would normally do, because the other person may come with a different viewpoint or a different way of doing things. So it may not be perfectly the way you want it to do unless you dictate that to that person. And
so the trust.
Yeah, sometimes we have to just say it's okay if it is not done in my way or the way I do it. It's okay. So I think we have to look at things from a higher vantage point where we understand that we have limited time, we have limited energy, we have limited resources. And to maximize the impact, we will have to delegate things which which others could do. And sometimes there are things which only you can do, yes, that you can delegate, but a lot of other things you can delegate, and you can use your time for things which others may not be able to do, only you can do. So that's my view on delegating, and I think as far as possible, you should delegate. But I also don't think that sometimes I have seen people delegating too much, all the things to others. I know one guy who puts all the things he's asked to do to on his sister. Right? I've seen many times that this guy, whenever he's given a task, you go around and come back. Pretty sure he's asking his sister to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It
So that
equals
type of
me.
delegation, I don't agree. So when you talk about delegation, it has to be, looked at a careful. So yeah, delegation is good, but not to take advantage of others.
Okay. So, do you have any other tips like you use for about the whole idea of staying productive?
Yeah, number one, get good sleep. Sometimes people think that, going sleepless, reducing the sleep, spending more time and all is going to make us more productive. I agree that there are seasons and some times in our lives where we may have to do that out of compulsion, but that should not be seen as the default to stay productive. A lot of people think that busyness is equal to productive. They think that if they are busy, they are productive, but that's not true at all.
Yeah.
You could be busy, but not being productive at all, actually.
Yeah.
So the one thing I would say is we should get good rest because when a day starts, if you're not rested, if you're tired, if you're like really sleepy, you won't be able to produce or come up with good things which you want to do. So make sure that you don't compromise with sleep in life. That's very important.
Okay.
Number two, I would say that work, whatever you want to do, work with a full heart. Enjoy what you're doing. I think if you go back to the episode on purpose of life, it was very clear that if you do what God wants you to do, and if you're very convinced that what you need to do, then what that really helps us with is we will be able to do it very diligently. Let it be work, study, whatever it is. We should be convinced and we should be doing it. So that's the way I look at it. So I think take good rest, focus. Do not try to multitask. Block times to do things, and be happy with the fact that what you do is making difference in other people's life.
So I want to wrap it up here, but I have a bit of a personal question. How do you manage everything you have to do, and like what is your routine?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think over the years I have improved, or I would say I have done. So one thing I want to just simply say is we need to be realistic. So I was guilty of this thing called as over commitment and having things way beyond what I can do, right, on my plate. But now I have learned that, okay, what is the capacity? What is my energy level? How much I can do well, right? So that way, what it does is it helps you to be less regretful.
Okay.
Let's say you were thinking to do 10 things and you didn't do anything. You feel so sorry about it, right? It's bad about it.
Yeah.
But you know that really you can only do 3 things. So, and if you do 2 also, you feel happy about it.
Yeah.
And so how I do is I have yearly goals. I have long-term goals, but let's start with the yearly goals. Like this year, I have picked up few goals, and those goals have things like, okay, this quarter, the first 3 months, I need to do this. Then that comes down to, okay, if I have to do this in the first 3 months, by January, February, March, how much I need to do in January,
Okay.
right? So I need to at least do 33% or 40% of that in January so that I'm on track to finish that in time. Now, that brings us down to the fact that, okay, how much I need to do per week. So what I do is I have days allocated for different things. Like Sunday is non-compromisable. I have to go to church to preach, a lot of things. So I don't have much going on that day. But the other days, like Monday, I have certain things. Tuesday, focus things. Wednesday, I have focus. There are times built in for writing. So I have something called as every day, read a little bit at least, learn something, write, even if it is like 5 minutes, do it, because that actually helps you to develop that habit. And then I have shared in another episode about the tools I use.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the main thing I want to say, and then I do weekly plans. Okay, what are the things I want to accomplish this week? Then the other thing I would just say that, as I said a little earlier, I'm trying to be realistic.
Okay.
So, as you know that, we had the Thriving Talk newsletter I was doing last year.
Yeah.
It was on a weekly basis. So for 2023, for now, I have decided to do every other week.
Okay.
So, and then there are other aspects. Blog I was doing weekly. So I've decided to do every other week.
Okay.
Because I was trying to plan and I realized that there is no way I can do
it.
everything I'm supposed to do
Yeah.
along with all these stuff. So I'm trying to make sure that sign up for what you can do, but have the discipline of doing it. Just don't delay it, and just don't go with the flow of the wind. You have to have a goal and a purpose, and make sure that you're going in that direction.
So thank you for sharing that, and to everyone who listens, I hope this is helpful. I hope everyone can take some tips from here to stay productive, to do all your work. So thank you to everyone for listening. In the coming weeks, we will be coming back with more Dadson editions of Thriving Talk, and I'll be asking more questions. As we said in the beginning, this episode is available on many different platforms. Do not forget to follow or subscribe to the Thriving Talk podcast on your favorite platform to receive new podcast episodes as they get released. Also remember that my dad has a weekly every other week newsletter.
Now, yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be weekly.
Which he changed. Now, in which he shares a lot of good information. The link to the newsletter will be in the show notes. Feel free to subscribe to the newsletter. We'll be back, but until then, remember that we need to realize how much we can do and plan out our day to accomplish as much as we can.
Thank you. God bless you all.